When you see a big pile of wood waste, what do you actually see? Is it just scrap? Or is it a really complex resource that could fuel our new green economy? Well, the thing is, it's both. And to unlock its real value, you need more than just a truck. You need a super sophisticated digital bridge. And today, that's exactly what we're going to build.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll get into the weeds of the hidden problem with wood waste itself. Then, we'll look at the new digital rulebook that's changing everything. From there, we'll actually design a software solution piece by piece, starting with some cool AI and smart logistics, and finally, we'll tie it all together with compliance and the bigger bioeconomy.
All right, first up, wood waste's hidden problem. And really, it all comes down to a simple fact. Not all wood is created equal. And that one little detail, it creates a massive headache for the entire industry. What you're looking at here is the fundamental split personality of wood waste. On the one hand, you've got clean wood. That's basically a golden ticket of valuable feedstock. But on the other hand, you've got contaminated wood. And that stuff isn't just trash. It's a potential financial and legal landmine waiting to go off. And this number? This is what keeps people up at night in this industry. 40%. That's how much of the cost of biomass can be just transportation. Why? Because wood is bulky and full of air. That 40% isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It's the razor-thin margin between a profitable green business and a total money pit. Efficiency isn't a nice-to-have, it's everything. So let's move on to the next piece of this puzzle, the regulations. Because a huge shift is happening right now in Ontario that's making old-school paper trails completely obsolete. It's the end of an era. You can see the writing on the wall right here. We went from messy paper manifests to online self-registration. And now, the future is all about the RPRA. That's the Resource Productivity and Recovery Authority, and their fully digital reporting service. This isn't a trend. It's a mandate. It's go digital or go home.
And what that means in practice are systems like this, the EASR. To legally transport even the simplest non-hazardous waste, a company has to be in this online system. You have to manage your compliance digitally from day one. There's no getting around it.
Now this term right here is where the stakes get really high. Subject waste. The second a piece of wood gets this label, maybe it's an old painted window frame or a pressure-treated deck board, it enters a whole new legal universe, a universe of strict, mandatory digital tracking. And if you get this wrong, the consequences are absolutely severe. So, you've got this tricky material problem on one side and this super strict digital rulebook on the other. How on earth do you manage all of that? Well, you don't build one giant clunky program. You build a smart, modular architecture designed for the new circular economy. And here's what that looks like. A 4-part modular stack. Think of it like building with Legos. You start with a smart AI front end to handle quotes. Then you have the operational core, which is like an air traffic controller for trucks. The back end handles all the digital paperwork to keep the regulators happy, and a financial module deals with all the unique billing. Each part does its job perfectly.
Okay, let's dig into how this thing actually works, starting with those first two modules. This is where a simple customer text message gets transformed into a perfectly optimized hauling job, all thanks to some really clever AI.
So it all starts with something as simple as a chatbot on WhatsApp. It can grab a customer's request anytime, day or night. Then the customer just snaps a photo of their wood pile, and computer vision scans it for any red flags, like painted wood. And finally, a smart density calculator figures out the weight to make sure the perfect truck gets sent out the very first time.
I mean, it seems like such a basic question, right? How much does a pile of wood weigh? But in the world of logistics, getting the answer wrong is just incredibly expensive. If you overload a truck, you're looking at fines. If you underload it, you've just wasted a whole lot of fuel and time on an inefficient trip.
This number right here, this is the secret sauce. 174 kilograms per cubic meter. By plugging this average density into the software, the AI can look at the size of a pile and calculate its weight almost instantly. This isn't just a party trick, it's the core calculation that makes the whole operation efficient. And that one calculation leads directly to this. The system knows instantly whether to send a small 40-yard bin for a construction site or a massive 144-yard trailer for a bulk run to a biohub. It means you're always sending the right tool for the job, maximizing how much you carry, and killing those costly empty return trips.
Okay, so last but definitely not least, let's talk about the back end. This is the part of the system that makes sure every single load is legally compliant and, crucially, creates the verifiable data we need to plug this waste stream into the new bioeconomy.
Now, this table looks a little intimidating, but it shows you just how razor-thin the line is. We're talking about tiny, tiny amounts. Just 5 milligrams of lead per liter, that's parts per million, can legally classify an entire truckload of wood as hazardous waste. The margin for error is practically zero, but the consequences of a mistake are enormous.
And that is precisely why the software needs to create a perfect, bulletproof digital audit trail. For the risky stuff, it talks directly to the government's RPTRA system to create a manifest. For the clean wood, it generates notes for things like green building certifications. And some are even using blockchain to create a completely unfakeable record of that wood's journey.
So what's the big payoff for all this? It's huge. This isn't just about running a hauling company better. A software architecture like this is the missing link. It's what turns a potential liability, that random pile of wood, into a verified, trusted, and incredibly valuable feedstock for huge green initiatives like Ontario's Forest Biomass Action Plan.
And that really leaves us with one final big question to chew on. As we all push for a truly circular economy, we spend a lot of time talking about recycling materials. But what if the most important thing we can create isn't just the recycled wood itself, but the transparent, verifiable data that proves its journey from start to finish?